Dino. Mm-hmm. When you're done, can you let Ruth into my bedroom?
Evening, everyone. Welcome to week 13. How you doing? Hope you're well. Hope you're good. Enjoying the nice weather. Enjoying the sunshine. We're still going for another week. If you're logging on and just looking at the link for the picture round in the description, it's album covers for the picture round this week. So I've got the answers for either the name of the album and the artist, but if you can come up with one or the other, I think that's fine. So either the name of the artist and the name of the album, I'll give you both answers, but if you come up with one or the other, that's fine by me. As always, if you want to read all the questions as we go, there's a link in the chat, so you can follow that link and it will give you all of tonight's questions, hopefully in the right order. Excuse the spelling and the punctuation as always. And yeah, here we are. We'll give it a couple of minutes to get yourself a drink, get yourself sorted, pen and paper as always, or whatever you need, and we'll make a start on tonight's quiz. Yeah, here we are. Hope everyone survived another week. So this week's round, if you're interested, while we're just getting ready. So first round is TV, then it's music, science and technology, history, sport, and finally the current affairs round. So nothing particularly sort of themed or special this week, just generic rounds on those subjects. So if we're all up and running and ready to go, we'll start with the TV round. I'll give it a second. If anyone puts a complaint in the chat to say they're not ready or they are ready, that's fine. And then we'll get going. Okay, so no one said anything otherwise, so I'm hoping that everyone's all good. And we'll make a start then, round one. Here we are. So, question one, TV. What is Postman Pat's surname? So question number one, what is Postman Pat's surname? Is question one. And question two. In what year did Channel 5 launch in the UK? In what year did Channel 5 launch in the UK? And question three. Of what is the sci-fi show Torchwood an anagram? So, of what is the sci-fi show Torchwood an anagram? Question four. Which show is Frasier a spin-off from? Which show is Frasier a spin-off from? That's question four. And question five. What was the name of the tower block where Del Boy and Rodney Trotter lived in Only Fools and Horses? What was the name of the tower block where Del Boy and Rodney Trotter lived in Only Fools and Horses? Question 6. Gillian Anderson plays a therapist in which hit Netflix show? So Gillian Anderson plays a therapist in which hit Netflix show? Question 7. What is the name of the fictional borough of Melbourne where Australian soap Neighbours is set? So what is the name of the fictional borough of Melbourne where Australian soap Neighbours is set? And question 8. EastEnders began broadcasting on BBC One in which year? So EastEnders began broadcasting on BBC One in which year? And question 9. Who is the longest serving presenter of the BBC children's show Blue Peter? Who is the longest serving presenter of the BBC children's show Blue Peter? That's not current presenters, that's of all time. Who have all of the presenters of Blue Peter did it for the longest? And finally, number 10. What is the name of Mackenzie Crook's character in the sitcom The Office? What is the name of Mackenzie Crook's character in the sitcom The Office? Here's question 10 for the end of the TV round. Okay, so give you a second before we go on to the music round. For you to go through those, check you know what you're doing. We've got any ones you missed for that? And we'll go on to the music round. Okay. Round 1 of the music round. Here we are. Noel and Liam Gallagher from Oasis have an older brother. What's his name? So Noel and Liam Gallagher from Oasis have an older brother. But what is his name? Mr. Gallagher won't count. And question 2. Name the song and the artist for the following lyric. Maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm blind, thinking I can see through this and see what's behind. So, song and artist from this lyric. Maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm blind, thinking I can see through this and see what's behind. And question 3. Matt Goss, Luke Goss, and Craig Logan made up which band? Matt Goss, Luke Goss, and Craig Logan made up which band? Is question 3. And question 4. In what year did the Beatles split up? In what year did the Beatles split up? Is question 4. Question 5. What nationality is pop star Justin Bieber? What nationality is pop star Justin Bieber? Is question 5. And question 6. Complete the Spice Girls lyric. If you want to be my, you gotta get with my friends. So what's the missing word? If you want to be my, you gotta get with my friends. Question 7. God Only Knows was a 1966 hit for which American band? God Only Knows was a 1966 hit for which American band? And number 8. Gary and Martin Kemp were in what band? Gary and Martin Kemp were in what band? And question 9. In what decade was pop icon Madonna born? In what decade was pop icon Madonna born? And lastly in this round, which two country singers famously sang together on the 1983 song Islands in the Stream? Not Bryn and Nessa. But which two country singers famously sang together on the 1983 song Islands in the Stream? And that's the music round done. So finish those off, grab your answers to the TV round, and I will give you the answers I've got. And then we can argue if we think they're different. Okay, so if you've got your answers, hopefully, for the TV round. The first one, Postman Pat's surname is Clifton, apparently. Question 2, Channel 5 launched in 1997. And question 3, Torchwood is an anagram of the show that it span off from, Doctor Who. It's actually an anagram of Doctor Who. And question 4, Frasier is a spin-off of Cheers. Question 5, the Trotters lived in Nelson Mandela House. Question 6, Gillian Anderson played a therapist in Sex Education on Netflix. Question 7, the fictional borough of Melbourne is Erinsborough, where Neighbours is set. Question 8. EastEnders first broadcast in 1985. And question 9. The longest serving presenter of Blue Peter was John Noakes. He did it for 12 years, from 1965 to 1978. And finally, the character in The Office played by Mackenzie Crook is Gareth Kean. So that's the TV round. Answers, we'll go on to the next round and then we'll go back for the music answers. So the third round, before we have a little break, is science and technology. So hopefully you've got yourself sorted, you've got all the answers for the first round okay, and we are on to science and technology round. And question 1. Which is the hottest planet in our solar system at its surface? So which is the hottest planet in our solar system at its surface? Question 2. What part of a plant conducts photosynthesis? What part of the plant conducts photosynthesis? And question 3. How many elements are in the periodic table? How many elements are in the periodic table? Is question 3. And question 4. Where is the smallest bone in the human body located? Where is the smallest bone in the human body located? And question 5. How many hearts does an octopus have? How many hearts does an octopus have? Question 6. With over 222 million units sold, what is Apple's highest selling iPhone model? So with over 222 million units sold, what is Apple's highest selling iPhone model? I'll give you a clue, just the number, which one along the series has sold the best, really. And question 7. In which year was Microsoft XP operating system released? In which year was the Microsoft XP operating system released? And question 8. As of 2017 onwards, how many characters long can tweets be? So from 2017 onwards, how many characters long can tweets be? One individual tweet. And question 9. What does GIF, the GIF, stand for? I know some of you maybe, as I was, what is a GIF? But first of all, figure out what it is, and then can you figure out what it stands for? And finally, question 10. In which year was the Nintendo 64 released in Europe? In which year was the Nintendo 64 released in Europe? That's the end of the science and tech round. So we'll have a minute and grab your answers for the music round. And we'll go through those. We'll go through the science round and then we'll have a quick break to be able to get a drink, do what you need to do, and then we'll carry on. So, the music round, the answers for that. Question 1. Paul Gallagher is Noel and Liam's brother, is Paul. Question 2. The lyrics were from the song Human by Rag and Bone Man. Question 3. Matt, Luke and Craig, they all made up Bros. Question 4. The Beatles split in 1970. Question 5. Justin Bieber is Canadian. Question 6. The Spice Girl lyric, the missing word, if you want to be my lover, you got to get with my friends. Question 7. God Only Knows was a hit in 1966 for the Beach Boys. Question 8. Gary and Martin Kemp were in the band Spandau Ballet. Madonna was born in 1958, so in the 50s, the decade she was born, the 50s, 1958 she was born. And the original singers of Island in the Stream in 1983 were Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton. So that's the music round done. If you've got your science and tech answers, I'll go through those. So question 1, the hottest planet in our solar system is Venus. Even though Mercury is closer to the sun, Venus's atmosphere makes it hotter. Question 2, the part of the plant is a leaf. The leaf does the photosynthesis. Question 3, there are 118 elements in the periodic table. 118. Question 4, the smallest bone in the human body is in the ear. Question 5, an octopus has 3 hearts. 3. Question 6, the Apple model is the iPhone 6 and the 6 Plus, and all the ones that are connected with the 6 is the most selling model of the iPhone. Question 7, Microsoft XP was released in 2001. Question 8, a tweet can now be 280 characters long. 280 characters long. And question 9, a GIF, the GIF stands for Graphics Interchange Format. And finally, the Nintendo 64 was released in Europe in 1997. So that's 3 rounds done. We'll have a quick break before we come back and do the history round. so you get a chance to get a drink, because I know I do want to get one. Anything else? And then we will carry on. So, while we are in the break, I did want to sort of talk about what we're going to do once this is sort of coming to an end, because I think we are probably heading slowly, or maybe quicker than some or slower than some, like out of lockdown. And I don't know how people really feel about whether they want to carry on a Saturday night at the moment. And or whether we want to maybe not do it every Saturday night anymore, perhaps maybe once a month until we're properly out and we can actually get together and do this properly. I don't know how the rules are going to work, whether or not we can maybe do an outdoor one sooner rather than later, before we can actually get a venue to do it indoors. I don't know, who knows, but have a think. If you've got any sort of thoughts, drop me a line. I mean, I'll happily carry on if that's what you want to do. I don't want to sort of, but if everyone else is sort of starting to get a bit fed up of being stuck and listening to me on a Saturday night, then I don't blame you. Certainly when the weather's nicer, you probably want to be doing something else. But yeah, we'll carry on at least for the next few weeks, maybe till the 4th of July, when everything is definitely meant to start opening more, and then we'll go from there maybe. But yeah, no, don't have to decide now, but let me know. And we'll carry on. All right, but that's cool. I've already seen a few people putting notes in the comments. Great. So yeah, yeah, we'll do it any way we want to do it. I don't mind. I'm not fussed about. If you're willing to put up with me keep talking this nonsense, then I don't mind doing it. But we'll work it out. Cool. Anyhow, if you let me know when you're ready, don't forget we've got a picture round is album covers. Name the album and the artist if you can. I've got both, but if you can only come up with one, oh well done for getting one. And then yeah, we can. And also yeah, what was I saying? And also the full list of questions in the comments stream. If you follow that link, you can read all the questions. I'm just reading a comment there about we're doing 5 people in the garden somewhere, and the rest can follow online. Yeah. Yeah, I did wonder about the garden, because obviously the reason, if anyone's not aware, the reason that this quiz is called the Wonky-cock pub quiz, it's not just because I thought it was something that was a bit rude. That is the name of the pub that we built. It's in the garden. It would be quite fun to actually do it from the pub. Might be quite fun. It's whether or not I can get the internet to spread that far down the garden is the issue, or whether or not everyone can be in the same garden at the same time. At the moment, I don't think we can all be in the garden at the same time. It's not quite big enough for that. It's not a bad size, but I'm not sure it's big enough for that. But yeah, if we can work out some way of maybe doing it from the pub, so and in the garden, that'd be quite cool. There's a field out behind. If everyone wants to go and stand in the field outside, and I'll get a big old megaphone and just shout it across the back of the fence. I don't know. That could work. Anyway, right. Enough of that. Let me know you're ready to start the second half, and we'll get going. The next round will be history when we get going again. Cool. Right. Okay. So people are saying they're ready. So history round one. Not round one. History question 1. Who was the Lord Mayor of London 4 times between 1397 and 1419, and the inspiration for a classic English folk tale? So who was the Lord Mayor of London 4 times between 1397 and 1419, and the inspiration for a classic English folk tale? And question 2. Who was the only one of Henry VIII's wives to receive a Queen's funeral? Who was the only one of Henry VIII's 8 wives to receive a Queen's funeral? And question 3. Who was the leader of Britain's ill-fated Antarctic expedition, which was one of the first to reach the South Pole in 1912? Who was the leader of Britain's ill-fated Antarctic expedition, which was one of the first to reach the South Pole in 1912? And question 4. Which 13th century Scottish knight did Mel Gibson portray in Braveheart? A very true, almost documentary-like historical representation of those events. So what was the name of the Scottish knight that Mel Gibson portrayed in Braveheart? And question 5. What year did the Challenger space shuttle disaster take place? Was it 1982, 1984, or 1986? So what year was the Challenger space shuttle disaster? Was it 1982, 1984, or 1986? And question 6. Which British king suffered from a stammer as portrayed by Colin Firth in The King's Speech? So which British king suffered from a stammer as portrayed by Colin Firth in The King's Speech? And question 7. Although an armistice was signed in 1953, what country is the USA still technically at war with? Although an armistice was signed in 1953, what country is the USA still technically at war with? And question 8, classic quiz question. Who discovered penicillin? It's 13 weeks. I am starting to run out of questions. Who discovered penicillin? It's question 8. And question 9. Who were the other 2 astronauts with Neil Armstrong on the Apollo 11 mission? Who were the other 2 astronauts with Neil Armstrong on the Apollo 11 mission? Everyone's going, and who's the other one? And question 10. Which country was the first to give women the right to vote in 1893? Which country was the first to give women the right to vote in 1893? And that's the end of history. That's the end of history. That's it. No more. Not having any more. Done with it. Certainly done with recent history, aren't we? I would have thought. And on to the much loved / hated sports round. Hooray. So, question number 1 for the sports round. Which city will host the 2028 Olympic Games? Maybe. Which city will host the 2028 Olympic Games? Or at least at the moment, that's their plan. And question 2. How many goals did England score, excluding the penalty shootouts, at the men's 2018 FIFA World Cup? Was it 10, 12, or 14? So how many goals did England score, excluding penalties, in the penalty shootouts, at the men's 2018 FIFA World Cup? 10, 12, or 14? Question 3. In cricket, what is the IPL? What does it stand for? In cricket, what does the IPL stand for? And question 4. How many different teams have won the Premier League since the start of the inaugural season in 1992-93? So how many different teams have won the Premier League since the start, when it started in 1992-93 season? If you want to be really clever and name them all as well. I'm not going to get any extra points, but you know. And question 5. How many Grand Slam titles has Andy Murray won? How many Grand Slam titles has Andy Murray won is question 5. And question 6. Which flamboyant former boxer made Brighton his adopted home? Which flamboyant former boxer made Brighton his adopted home is question 6. And question 7. At which venue is the British Grand Prix held? That's the motor racing Grand Prix, in case there's any others that I haven't thought of. But at which venue is the British motor racing Grand Prix held? And question 8. How many horses are on each team in a polo match? So how many horses are on each team in a polo match? And question 9. In which sport do you compete for the Solheim Cup? So in which sport do you compete for the Solheim Cup? And finally, question 10. Which European city hosted the 1936 Summer Olympics? Which European city hosted the 1936 Summer Olympics? That's the final question in the sports round. Once you've finished jotting those answers down, grab your history answers and we will go through those. So, history, question 1. The Lord Mayor of London, back then in 1397, that was Richard or Dick Whittington. Question 2. The only one of Henry VIII's wives to receive a Queen's funeral was Jane Seymour. The leader of the Antarctic expedition in 1912 was called Scott, Richard F. Scott. And question 4. Mel Gibson's wonderful portrayal of William Wallace. Question 5. The Challenger space shuttle disaster was in 1986. Question 6. The king with a stutter, played by Colin Firth, was George VI. Question 7. The USA are technically still at war with Korea, North Korea as it stands, but Korea as it stands now. But yeah, Korea is basically who they are still at war with technically. Alexander Fleming, of course, discovered penicillin. That's question 8. Question 9. The 2 astronauts. I'm sure everyone knew Buzz Aldrin straight away. And then they were going, who's the other fella? It was Michael Collins. So Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins are the 2. And finally, the first country to give women the right to vote in 1893 was New Zealand. And so we are on to our final round of the evening, current affairs. A few interesting things happened this week. And so I've managed to come up with a few questions for them. Hopefully they'll be all right. And then we'll go on to the rest of the answers and done. Another week. Hooray. I can almost hear that cheer from here. Okay, so current affairs round. Question 1. What 2018 event, more likely to happen during the Cold War, was dramatised by the BBC this week? So what 2018 event, more likely to happen during the Cold War, was dramatised by the BBC this week? And question 2. What annual sporting event was the Queen unable to attend this week for the first time in her reign? So what annual sporting event was the Queen unable to attend this week for the first time in her reign? Question 3. Which Premier League footballer helped to force the government into a U-turn over free school meals this week? So which Premier League footballer helped to force the government into a U-turn over free school meals? And question 4. Which shop had pie lovers getting off their sofas, albeit quite slowly, I imagine, when it announced its reopening plans this week? So which shop had pie lovers getting off their sofas when it announced its reopening plans this week? And question 5. We lost 2 famous faces this week, one from the world of sport, the other a singing legend. Name them both. We also tragically lost Ian Holm as well as this week, but I'd written this question already, so I couldn't add him in. Well, I could, but I decided not to. But the other 2 that were lost this week, one from the world of sport and the other a singing legend. Can you name them both, please? And question 6. Which singer might be dancing on the ceiling today as he celebrates his 71st birthday? Which singer might be dancing on the ceiling today as he celebrates his 71st birthday? And question 7. Now, I wrote which outspoken and controversial woman. I probably should have put vile, terrible excuse for a human being. Had her Twitter account permanently deleted this week. So, which outspoken and controversial woman had her Twitter account permanently deleted this week? And question 8. Which bit of tech did the UK government ditch this week? Question 8. What bit of tech did the UK government ditch this week? And question 9. On the Nando's heat scale, or as it's otherwise known as the UK government alert level ometer thing, but it looks like the Nando's heat scale to me. What alert level was the UK downgraded to this week? You can either put what the official number is, or you can put the Nando's heat level if you like. I don't mind, either answer will do. But we got downgraded to something. What did we get downgraded to this week? And finally, question 10. There was a glimmer of hope when it was proven that dexamethasone could help treat COVID-19. But how do you spell dexamethasone? How do you spell dexamethasone? That is the final question of the quiz. Hooray. Grab your sports answers. We will go through those, and then we'll go through all the other answers, and we'll be done. So, question 1 of the sports round. Los Angeles is due to host the Olympics in 2028. All being well. Question 2. England scored 12 goals in the last World Cup, excluding the penalty shootout. Question 3. the cricket, the IPL is the Indian Premier League. Question 4. How many different teams have won the Premier League? It is 6. Man United, Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Leicester, and Blackburn are the 6 teams to have won it. Liverpool officially haven't won it yet, of course. And question 5. Andy Murray has won 3 Grand Slams. 2 Wimbledons and a US Open, I believe. Question 6 even. The flamboyant boxer who made Brighton his home was Chris Eubank. Question 7. The British Grand Prix is held at Silverstone. Question 8. Each team in polo has 4 horses. Normally, I believe there's a version in the winter where it's sometimes 3, but standard game of polo is 4 horses per team. The Solheim Cup, question 9, is played, or you play in golf. It's women's version of the Ryder Cup, basically, is the Solheim Cup. And question 10, the 1936 Summer Olympics was in Berlin. Okay. This week's current affairs round. Grab your answers for that. And the 2018 event that was dramatised this week by the BBC was the Salisbury poisonings. So if you put something like that, the Novichok thing, anything like that, if you know what you're on about, that's fine by me. And question 2, the Queen was unable to attend Royal Ascot this week for the first time in her reign. And question 3, it's Marcus Rashford is the Premier League footballer who was campaigning the government to change their decision on school meals. The shop that had pie lovers heading for the streets was Greggs. They announced their reopening plan. So Greggs shops will reopen soon and steak bakes will once again be available to us all. Question 5, the 2 famous faces that were lost from sport was Willie Thorne, and of course the singing legend was Vera Lynn. And question 6, Lionel Richie is 71 today. He's dancing on the ceiling for his 75th birthday is Lionel Richie. And as we said, question 7, unfortunately, it was only her Twitter account that was deleted and not her, but Katie Hopkins. Question 8, the UK ditched their contact tracing app this week and going for the Android, the Google and Android one instead. And question 9, we got downgraded to level 3 on the Nando's heat scale, or medium if you're going by Nando's. But level 3 is the official answer. And finally, question 10. How do you spell dextromethasone? So it is pretty much as it sounds, actually. It's easier than you might think. It's DEXAMETHASONE. One more time. DEXAMETHASONE. Dextromethasone. And that concludes that, with the exception, of course, of the picture round. So it was album covers. So I asked if you could do the artist and if you can do the title of the album as well. Brilliant, but one or both. So unfortunately, for some reason, the way it was formatted, it took the numbers out at the bottom, but I'll be going from left to right across is how it's numbered. So if you've got that in front of you. So it was David Bowie and the Rise and Fall of Ziggy Ziggy Stardust and the Spinders from Mars. So number 2, if we're going along, was Nirvana and Nevermind. Number 3 was The Killers, Hot Fuzz. Number 4 was Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA. Number 5 was Blur and Park Life. Number 6 was The Gorillaz and Demon Days. Number 7 was Meatloaf and Bat Out of Hell. Number 8 was Pink Floyd, The Dark Side of the Moon. Number 9 was King Crimson, In the Court of the Crimson King. Number 10 was Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms. Number 11 was Oasis, Definitely Maybe. Number 12 was Green Day, American Idiot. Number 13 was Paul Simon and Graceland. Number 14 was the Eagles, Hotel California. Number 15 was Muse and Absolution. Number 16 was Fleetwood Mac and Rumours. Number 17 was Michael Jackson and Dangerous. Number 18 was Madness, One Step Beyond. Number 19 was Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. And number 20 was Kanye West, The College Dropout. And so we are there, 13 weeks, just like that. I hope everyone had a good night. I hope they enjoyed the quiz. Hope it was all right for everyone. Hope it might have been a little bit easier for some than last week, or maybe too easy, I don't know, or maybe not too hard, who knows. Sorry if it was either way, but hopefully it was still a good laugh. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of the evening. Summer solstice tomorrow, longest day of the year. Didn't put one of those in for the current affairs round, did I? But never mind. Enjoy that. Hopefully it's a good day weather-wise, it's meant to be. And we'll see you all next week. I'll hang around on the chat for a few minutes afterwards. And I shall see you next week. Enjoy, take care, stay safe. Stay alert to a medium around about 3 level. And I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.